Right, yep, we're live. We're good, we're good. Yeah, we want to see how this 5-minute candle sets up. Because obviously it's breaking down at the minute, but it could just be a wick for us to start driving up.
Split.
But if it doesn't, I'm totally okay with that. Because obviously we can pull back. We can pull back to 190. We could even pull back to 150. And then continue up. So we'll see. Oh, yeah, that's what I was expecting. If this was the wick, we could start. If we start flipping, we should drive up.
Yeah.
Man, if YouTube hurry up, they can potentially get in the entry, same entry as me.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, not that I encourage that, but still. Yeah, this is what I wanted to see from the 15-minute time frame. If we can continue like this.
In terms of looking for like buys above this area, I've probably got to wait for a high to be created first, I think.
Okay.
This is quite a high point for the last couple of years, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're probably going to have issues while we're still in this range, but I think once we're above 350, you'll see clean moves. So even if you need to wait for an entry above 350,
yeah,
but knowing that, you know, you need to try and catch some form of continuation move.
Yeah, the volume's pending at the moment. GJ.
Yeah, volume's just, it's like going for a jog at the minute. A light jog.
Coming up.
5-minute respect to that area. 15-minute candle closed bullish, but it did not close above the resistance. So it is still tricky at this minute for us to continue this very minute. Right, we'll give it a few minutes for a few people to join up. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to join. Well, GJ is being slow. Just to let you guys know on the YouTube, I am in a buy position. Buy position. Okay, we got 2 people show up this morning so far.
One of them's me.
Oh, one of them's you. So 1 person show up so far. Well, thank you, Kelsey, anyway, for being one of those people.
That's right. Oh yeah, with the pre-market fuel, you've been having that recently, it's all.
Have I been having it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've drinking a few bits of it, yeah.
How is it?
Yeah, no, it's nice, man. It tastes really nice. I really like the taste, actually. Why is that? Just curious.
I was wondering, innit? Yeah,
oh, okay.
obviously you brought it up a month, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I got it about a month ago.
Yeah.
Still ain't finished it, but it is really nice.
It's always there if you need it, innit?
That's it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like, when I get up, like, I just don't think to even make a drink. Do you know what I mean? But I think...
Jump in the isn't it?
Yeah. I think I will start drinking it in the mornings, though. She's coming down. mode. She's not coming down, but she's retracing at the minute. Obviously, we could still go bullish based on the 30-minute candle or the 15-minute candle, but we'll see.
I saw your analysis last night, and I just saw this morning it was already pretty much hitting the highs.
No, I know.
High levels.
Mad, innit?
Mm.
Yeah, we may just want a bit of a deeper retest here to continue up. I like how I get more drawdown than I do profit. Like when I get into a trade, man. Can't see your chart on YouTube. Yeah, you will do in a minute. This is just the starting screen. Just the starting screen. We're gonna be. Yeah, do you know what? Let's just get going with it. Yeah, so I'm in a buy position from 157 230. Stopped based on the range, looking for that continuation. We should hit 157 350, and then we should move up to the next 4-hour level. But obviously we're pulling back at the minute, which is, it's okay, it's fine. Not the best situation, we're pulling back deep, but it is what it is. Until we get a break below 157 150, we're not going down. You know, we're just retracing in the grand scale. You know, but obviously a closer back in the range would mean we're rejecting somewhere in this area, which is obviously no good, right? But the 4-hour obviously is hardly like, you know, done anything or gone anywhere so far. So, but you know, if you look at the 4-hour analysis, it makes sense for us to continue up. You know what I'm saying? Daily as well, but yeah. But the thing is, obviously this is now your fresh daily resistance zone. So obviously there's a few things we obviously have to keep in mind. But I think for the most part, it should be good. You know, there's a few confirms over here. You've got the 4-hour candle. You've got the 4-hour candle that closed above your high point on the 4-hour. So in theory, we should be making a lower wick to drive up, right? So whatever pullback we get may just be this 4-hour wick, right? I'm looking on the lower time frame. I see this is the range. So I mean, unless you get the 4-hour candle start pushing deeper into this lower time frame zone, we're not going down. We're just pulling back at any point to then drive up based on the 4-hour candle for us to continue in that direction. You know, once this 4-hour candle really starts breaking above these wicks, then you know that's the next target for the 4-hour candle. Or we may finish off like this, and then your New York session pulls back to continue your move up. What's up? What's up? Nothing much. Nothing much. If you look at the 1 hour, we had this bearish pullback market structure forming, right? You can see that. So you had the rejection of the previous high point, then had a rejection during the London session yesterday, which we saw, right? You then had another lower high created, and then what did we do? We respected this support, so we couldn't break down, and then now we had a break of structure, break up. You then had this 1 hour confirmation candle that broke this resistance over here, and now we're coming into London session. So where it makes sense for targets? 2 targets makes sense, right? If you look at the 1 hour now, we pulled deep. Now we're starting to retrace back to the original entry, which is good. Which makes sense. Still got 7 minutes left. So hopefully this 15 minutes gonna flip. Because if that flips, that's gonna be another what we talked about with the 5 minute, where the 5 minute candle respected. So we could expect the same kind of thing from the 15 minute. And if the 15 minute can respect this level, then this is just another wick rejection. and more liquidity being generated to drive us to the upside. So for those on the YouTube, you know, my entry is basically here. So I'm back at the entry point, had a bit of drawdown. So those who like the idea, it's up to you. But follow your own analysis, follow your own trading plan. You know, we may pull back deeper and we may close back in the range, but you know, we just look for another opportunity at that point with further support confirmed to then say, okay, now we're going to head up. But it was worth a shot early on. 1 hour candles, 15-minute candles creating support above our range. It makes sense to now hit these levels and drive further bullish. It makes sense. I'm looking for gold buys. I'm going to look at gold right now actually. I was just about to look at gold. Yes, so I would also be looking for gold buys as well above 1776. So if this 30-minute candle closes above 1776, I think you could have a really good opportunity. Probably you want to use the 1 hour. Let's look at the 4 hour candle. Yeah, so this is kind of what we were looking at, but you got to be very careful because this 1775 level, we did not break on the 4 hour candle. We did not close above this area here. We did, however, break above this kind of structure point, which is good, makes sense, right? So you're going to have to be very careful knowing that this is a zone on gold that you could reject. So I'd be very careful, but it makes sense to push up at least, yeah. So gold buys is a good shout. Yeah, 1 hour candle looks good. You got like 5 minutes, 30-minute as well. Yeah, it's tricky. It looks like it's gonna maybe run off from you. So once you get that 30-minute confirmed, you could potentially look for a pullback and an entry on the 5-minute. You could potentially look for a support to form on the lower time frame. There's plenty of option. I just want to keep an eye on GJ here because it's slowly making its way back down, which is not good. Well, it's not bad, but it's not what we want to see, right? So the 5-minute, yeah, it's a little bit tricky now because the 5 minutes now closing below previous structure. So we may start coming back down. We may now have a pullback candle on the 30-minute. But my only concern is if we break back in the range. That's all my only concern is. If we do that, then I close the trade, wait for another opportunity. But we've only got like 3 minutes, so hopefully it's not going to do that. But if it does, then you have to understand why it didn't work, and the reason why it maybe didn't work is because we maybe want a deeper pullback in this area. You know, we may want to pull back all the way back down to 157. Who knows? I don't know. You know, we just have to go on what the market's telling us, right?
Yeah, I think as well, we might have kicked out this trade. It's just the fact that I've been backtesting a bit, and I've noticed like if we've made a high and Asian pullback, and then we've like created that idea that we're going to head back up at like 5:30 to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot more better than seeing a high made from like the previous day and then trying to retest that, because as it stands, this is kind of like the high point of the day at the moment. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I haven't really solidified it yet, but I feel like it might be something that I can look more into.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, you've got to stick to your own guns, as they say.
Yeah.
But, you know, my analysis always was during the Asian session, whatever, that once we start to break structure, create support, start breaking above our range in the morning, then I would look for buys. And we broke above our range, and we did even create support. So, you know, we're coming into 7 a.m. as well. We may just be pulling back and 7 a.m. continue us and drive us up.
I suppose you just got to get in it and then let it pull back if you need it to.
Yeah,
otherwise
I mean,
you can miss it.
yeah, exactly. But, you know, while we're in these areas, this is where you're going to get big wicks. This is where you're going to get liquidity grabs, because you're out of those clean areas at the minute. You know, you're in these potential rejection areas. You know, you've got all these levels. This is to be expected, let's say. You know what I'm saying? It's to be expected. So we'll see how the 30-minute candle closes over here. We're going to see how we close up over here, and then we should be good. As long as, like I said, as long as we respect 150, I'm happy. And then we should, with the 7 AM volume, hopefully create a support. And then that may be someone else's opportunity to then get into a trade once we've seen a pullback, and then you're seeing candles now start to go back in your given direction. Okay, we've got GJ did not close above 157.262. That's why it came down. 157.262. Yeah, that's fine. It's just reacting to a level because we have a lack of volume at the moment. It may not have closed above 262, but we broke above the 4-hour most recent resistance, right? We broke above that during the Asian session. So your London bias should be looking for continuation of buys, right? You know, we did need some form of a pullback during our session after 6 AM for the 4-hour wick. So I always expected that, but whether it was going to be, a candle that was not going to be what I wanted to see is a different story.
Sometimes it can just fly. You see a break of 4 hours, just go.
Yeah, sometimes it'll run off without you, sometimes it won't. So now we want to wait to see how the 7 AM candle reacts. What I'd like to see is a bottom wick created, maybe doing a retest of 157, 150, and then for us to drive up, breaking above the high at 157, 270. That would be the best opportunity, based on as well how the 1 hour candle closed. That I want to see a wick so that I know that we can still drive in the given direction. So 7 AM, hopefully this is the volume that we need to continue up. This is why I didn't really want it to push up first, because we could potentially now start to come down if you understand how wicks work on the candles. But from a 15-minute perspective, if we start closing back up and above this support level where we had here or here, then structurally we're still continuing in that way.
Yeah, I think I want to see 30-minute close above that resistance there, and I'll probably take that up.
Yeah.
Just gotta wait for it.
Yep.
Yeah, tapping there would have been nice first, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a little rejection to the downside would have been a lot more solid, but look, GJ's going to do what it's going to do. It's going to move how it wants to move. Just whenever I see that push up very early on, and I know that we're going, we want to see, like for example, this candle here, I knew we could pull back between this candle and this candle based on the reason that they opened up with no bottom wick first, and then during the second half they started to retrace and flip, knowing that the candle would create a wick like that. So the same way works for the opposite. We kind of wanted to see a pull down first, a wick, and then it to start driving up, so we can know that this wick then should not in theory be broken, because that's the wick rejection we need to drive up, so to speak. But we'll see, it's GJ, it may just want to continue. Who knows? GJ works in strange ways.
Yeah, it does have a small bottom wick.
It's very little.
Yeah, very small.
It's very little. So coming back to my entry point at this point. Will you close half at entry? No, I will not be closing half at entry. Like I say, I'm not closing this trade until I see closures back inside the range. Apart from that, we should continue off and out of the screen, mate. Only looking for continuation. Are you concerned about resistance at 157.350? Or you expect a London volume to push it through? Seems like limited upside at this point. It's not a concern, but I'm aware of it because we could reject here again based off what happened previously. So of course we have to be, us as traders, we have to understand that, and we have to make sure that we're aware of that. So yeah, I could bank some profit here, which is what I was kind of planning to do based on, depending on the volume, right? So yes, in theory, this would be a first target zone. right? Because that's a zone. Then your next target zone would be me trying to play off the 4 hour, which is up over there, the next target. But it's not so much like a concern, it's more, that's a target because that's the high on the 30-minute, right? And then it's also, okay, maybe if I'm trying to hold it longer, what do I not want to see at that area? Well, I don't particularly want to see candles rejecting lower time frame. I want to see candles breaking through and breaking above, right? But we'll see. You can see 7 AM is starting to push us bullish, which is good. Pretty good. Right, let's take a look at gold. Yeah, so you can see gold 30-minute broke above 1776. So now you want to start looking for potential support to form for gold to continue up. Or if you like the idea that we're already creating a bottom wick, you could give that a shout on the breaking the highs for gold to continue up. Obviously your stop loss in theory would need to be below the 30-minute candle, because if you put it below here, it's very, very risky. It's a very aggressive stop loss. So obviously you want to have your stop originally below here, and as this candle starts pushing you into profit, then you can either bring your stop below the current low or put your stops to break even and let the trade run. Because that is a 30-minute and the 1 hour close, so it does make sense with this little wick that's been created now for gold to continue pushing bullish. I think to we'll see. I think you got an easy move to 1782. 1782 is the target for gold buys. And then that would also be the wick rejection on the 4 hour, which obviously makes sense to be very cautious of. So we'll come back to gold. GJ is looking pretty good. It's pretty good. 15-minute is obviously broken that wick. It's broken the. It's pushing back up to that zone again, which is nice. But we're obviously gonna have to wait a little bit more here. 5-minute looking good, but like I say, we're gonna have to wait to see it break above the highs for us to continue up. Which close are you waiting for? Minute 15, minute 5 on gold or pound yen? I'm already in a buy on pound yen, but if it was gold, if you don't like the idea of the bottom wick, then I would want to see a support formed either on the 5 or the 15, depending on the candle. You know, it's not just any bullish candle, but if you had a situation where we pull back and then you get a nice solid 5-minute with the downside wick rejection, you could look to push the next candle up to the current minor resistance and then see if we're going to break up. Oh, this is a hard tune. Oh, Kels, mate, you got to listen to this tune on the YouTube. Absolute anthem.
Yeah, 1 sec. Jump on it now.
It's an absolute tune, mate. Good morning, Sharif. How's it going? So that will be an impulse entry. We need clean range above 157.262 till 157.327. If you're buying based off of breaking of this high or above the highs, then that's an impulse entry. But I'm already in a buy position based off the support formed and the confirmation breakout of the range, plus the 4 hour closing above your 4 hour high overnight. So that's my confirms. All of those factors included. Taking it impulsively now would be above these wicks. If you're not in the trade, looking to push up to there and then seeing if we're going to extend out of the 4 hour zone that we're currently in. But as it stands, I'm already in a position and I did not take it based on an impulse. But yeah, this is where we have to wait, because look how we could reject and still have this 15-minute candle not go in our favor. Obviously not what I want to see, right? But we'll have to wait anyway, because GJ is GJ. Oh, that is a nasty ass rejection. See, this is why I don't like 7 a.m. not creating that bottom wick. But like I say, until we start closing below 150, we're not going down. We're just finding rejection at the minute, I think, because of lack of volume. But this, in theory, is not what you want to see for upside, is it? Based on the lower time frame, we're now starting to see failing to break higher. But of course, we can still head up at any point. We just have to wait. Now back in.
Make them down to 150 and then reject off there, head back up.
Yeah, who knows what it may do, but this is not good. Wicking all the way up to the previous rejection area and then coming back, not good at all. But I would take these buys every day of the week. In fact, I've taken this buy position too many times, and it plays out very high proportion of the time. And with the 4-hour confirm and, you know, the lower time frame support above the range, you can't really get much better confirmation than that. Obviously, same thing at the lower the range would have been the same idea, you know, same confirmation, same breakout, same idea based on the 4-hour. Just difference being we've broken above the highs on the 4-hour, whereas if we were down over here, we'd be looking for the push up to the 4-hour resistance based on the support created. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Nothing really going, you know, nothing too worrying at the minute. I just don't like the way the 5-minute is now rejecting the previous high point, and that we're consolidating in and around a 4-hour high. We're going to need some volume here to now start to break this zone. So we're clearly having, well, we're clearly struggling at this area at the minute. So, okay, gold 4-hour clean range till 1786, then 1794. Okay, yeah. So you can see here gold is moving bullish, which is nice. It's made that bottom wick that we said. 5-minute is creating a support, trying to close above the highs. This minor resistance on the 5-minute. So it's looking pretty nice for gold to continue driving up at that point. But I think both gold and GJ are playing up a little bit, especially GJ. This is a bit disgusting, the price action right now. Like, we're not going, the thing you have to remember is this: we're not going down, we're not heading down, structure's not bearish, right? But what we are starting to do, and you always want to pay attention to that, is we are starting to create an area where we're failing to break above, right? Which is not good in our case. We also have the current 30-minute that looks like a potential rejection to start driving down, which again is not what we want to see. Which is why I said 7 a.m. I'd much rather see the bottom wick creation and a drive up.
You may just get the next 15-minute candle, like
just drive up. Yeah, but you could also have price now start coming back inside the range. You know, we could easily see that we may now start rejecting, which in a way is okay, because you know your bias is your bias until you're proven wrong. But you know, it's not what we wanted to see. You know, in theory, we should easily be coming up to 350. The fact that we're struggling to says that there's, in a way, an issue with the volume. But I'm hoping that we're going to find an area, because we've only technically pulled back 8 pips, which is nothing really in the grand scale of things. Right? So I'm hoping that we're going to find a zone that price clearly wants to find and generate more liquidity, so we can continue that move up. We are coming down pretty hard. When's the 30-minute close? We've still got a while here. coming back in the range on the 15 minute. We are seeing rejection of this previous resistance. It's very tricky at this point, very tricky. Not what I wanted to see. So we'll have to see how the 15 minute closes over here to make sure if we're still respecting our range or not. But this 5 minute close is looking a potential exit. 15 minute as well would be closing in and amongst the range, which is not what we want. 30 minute still open, but I do not like the way that we're rejecting this previous resistance at this point. 1 hour candle also coming down. Not the situation you want to be in whatsoever. 5 minute is coming down hard.
Tricky one there.
15 minute candle closed back in the range, but obviously we can. The thing is, the 30 minutes still open. The 1 hour candle is still open. 30 minutes still open. 15 minutes still open. 5 minutes still open. Yeah, this is super tricky. Because in theory, I should be closing this position. But the 30 minutes still open. But I don't like the way that we're rejecting the upside.
Tough one.
Super tough. 1 hour candle is obviously still open. Yeah, we're coming down pretty hard over here. Yeah, very tricky. Very, very tough situation at this minute. Considering we had 7 AM come up and now start to reject, I'm probably looking at closing this position very soon. I want to see if this 15 minute maybe starts to wick down to drive up, and then if it starts to break its own low again or anything like that, then at that point the trade would be done. Because if the 15 minute is going to start coming back above the range, so the 30 minute respects, then obviously at that point I want to see this 15 minute candle start pushing back above 157, 150. If we create 5 minute resistance in here, in 150, then I think I'm going to be out at that point. Or like I say, if this current 15 minute then starts coming back to this wick, this low wick, then I'll close the trade at that point. Would make no sense, because at least with the new 15 minute you can have a wick down and start driving us back above the range in order for the 30 minute to respect, in order for the 1 hour to respect. So we shall see, but the drawdown is not very good. But this was not obviously what I expected at all for today's session. I was truly expecting GJ to be breaking up and above 360 and to continue out of the range. But we'll see, because like I say, the 15 minute, if it closes back above, and especially if we start closing back above 190, then I think we are okay. But that gave me the sweats. You know them ones.
Yeah.
I know Kelsey knows that one.
I feel like if you wait for the 30, you'd be good, because like, you just never know what this next 15 minute could do.
Yeah, I'm just wary of the lower time frame, that's all. I'm wary of the 5. But yeah, like you say, the 30 could still respect. This may just be the wick rejection that we said at the 150, but it was just a drawdown. Because I went on a little bit heavier today from my usual stop loss based on the risk. Based off the idea, I was so confident we were gonna fly up.
It's this area you want to be careful about.
Yep. But let's say this 5-minute candle cannot start closing above 150. I think I'm gonna then start exiting, because unless we see candles coming back above 150, we technically could still come down, hit stops. Not what we want at all. Okay. Not enough weight behind the confirms you had for it to go up. I think you're right. I think there was not enough volume at the time, but based on the confirmation I had, it made a lot of sense to look for that continuation. You know, that was my entry. Now I'm basing the trade off the breakout, but the support formed was my entry. So, but yeah, of course, in theory you're right. There's not enough weight. Price has not got enough volume at this very minute to drive up. That's why we're seeing what we're seeing right now happen. But yeah, we're gonna see anyway, because the 15 minutes obviously still open. We want the 15-minute candle to stay above 150, 157, 150, in order for the 30-minute candle to respect our previous range, and then our buys in theory then are still very valid at that point. My only concern is if candles start to create resistance below 150, or if we start to get another further 5-minute candle close below 150, 157, 150. If this current 5-minute starts to drive back up, then that in my opinion is perfectly fine. And for the 15-minute to finish off strong is obviously what we want to see. Then the 30-minute would be respecting our previous range, and we could still drive up. Need a 15-minute closure above that resistance. Exactly. Yeah, we need this 15-minute candle to close above 157, 150. So this is why I'm going to keep an eye on this 5-minute candle, because if this 5-minute candle starts closing below 157, 150, this is going to be very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. So we're going to have to be extra cautious here. Can tell you that now. Okay. Been holding GJ trade from 152.50 area. 152.50 area. Trailing stops, trying to see if I can hit that 160 mark. Yeah, 160 is a long way away for the minute, but I get what you're saying. If you have a higher time frame vision, that's fine, but you obviously want to have much wider stops than compared to lower time frame stops if you're trying to target 160. That's more of a like a monthly, weekly target. So, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, looks like we just wanted to pull back, potentially to just find rejection from the previous, well, the range that we had, to now start pushing back up, which is obviously good. So hopefully now we can start pushing back towards our given direction, which has made me feel a lot better. There's no worse feeling than when you're in a trade and you know you're in a fairly big lot position, and you can see price in drawdown, and you don't plan for, let's say, a full stop loss hit. You know, you always want to plan for how you can get out of a trade early, and obviously that's exactly what I did. I planned for where could I get out early. And I knew, you know, 30-minute closes backside 150 is going to offer an exit. But I was so, in a way, you know, it's a good lesson that, you know, your analysis, you always have to, in a way, presume it may not work. Because then you're more likely to see, okay, this is how I'm going to manage the trade. Before you've even considered, the fact that your trade could win. You know, you're just presuming it may lose, so you know exactly. And you're not surprised if it doesn't go your way. Because I was very, very confident in today's analysis based off the higher time frames, etc. But obviously you can see right now, if this is rejection now starting to build, not very good, is it? Not what we want to see for upside. We want to see the 30-minute respect 157, 150. We want to see the 15-minute closing above 150, but really it needs to be closing above 190 based off previous structure for this upside move to still be valid. You know, if we see,
you're saying, like,
Go on.
You know, like you're so confident in that analysis, and then, you know, you just. I had a trade like a couple months ago. I was so confident, and then it wasn't working out, and I had to be like, well, actually, this is probably not going to work out. Gotta get out of it.
Yeah. And you're unsure why it's not going in your way, you know, and you're almost convinced there's still a way it can win, you know.
It's gonna go up, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously it's the same with this trade. I'm still happy that we could go up, but I'm like looking at it now as if to say, okay, there's all the chance we may not. There's all the chance we may not go up, and you have to accept that. Like, you look at this 5 minute. If we start closing back below 150, this trade is done, in theory, because then the 5 minute is now showing signs that the 15 won't close above, and that the 30 may not close above. We're in the last 5 minutes here, and this is a very tricky situation for price to continue up. This is almost, in a way, not good at all. We want to see a strong close over here for the 5 minute and the 15 minute. But we're still respecting 150, which is good, based off the 15 and the 30 and the 5. So we'll just have to bear with it for the next 5 minutes, and then we can make our decision whether this trade makes sense. Okay, yeah, best chance you got now is support forming a lower time frame to then break the highs to continue back up into previous resistance, anticipating to break London Open. Exactly. Yeah, the only thing we want to see now is the fact the 5s now obviously created support, closing back above 150. We now want to see the 15 minute give us that opportunity, you know, give us that confirmation that we are closing back above the range. The 30 minute will respect the range. The 1 hour candle, obviously still being open, can still drive us up based on the same analysis. So we are pushing back up on the 15, which I am pleased about. Obviously, again, you know, do not for 1 second believe that we're definitely going up. You know, we're not going down. The market isn't going down, but it's not 100% that we're going up. Right? Anyway, what's going on with gold? Okay, so gold at the minute is still pulling back. Let's look on the lower time frame. Now, you see this 5 minute candle. Yeah, that's a support formed. But why would that be dangerous? Well, because look, we didn't close above that minor resistance right there. We've got structure forming. And if you like that idea, then yeah, gold is a shout now that we've had support formed. But it is still very tricky because it did not engulf that candle. We're still below this resistance, but I do like the way that it's rejecting over here. So if you like that, give it a shot on gold. Looking for that continuation. But I've got to keep an eye on pound yen over here. 2.5 minutes to know whether we're going to be out or whether we're okay. But you see if this fight... Oh, go on.
Also, if we close like this, we might just get the next 30 coming up, and then the 8 AM will push us up with the volume.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is if this 5 now starts to break below 150, that's the 15 minute not closing above 150, which will mean we are not going to be heading up. Then the 30 minute would be closing back in the range, and we would, yeah, at that point then, price would be very unlikely to be heading up at that point. If it does, I would wait for further confirms above 157.240 straight up. But you can see here now, yeah, not a good thing at all what's happening now. So for those who are potentially, sorry, go on.
So it seems to be holding this level.
Yeah,
just enough at the moment.
I'm just not sure, because look at this bearish market structure forming on the 5. You had a failure to break previous highs. Now you've got a kind of resistance zone forming. It's very tricky. So I'd much rather see this 5 minute start driving up in the last minute than compared to the other way around. If the 30 closes back in the range, then the trade is done at that point. Yeah, you can see the 15 minute now is coming back in the range in the last minute. This is not a good situation at all. So we're going to have to wait for the close. It's going to be very tricky. 40 seconds left. As it stands, guys, if this 30 minute closes as it is, I'm going to be exiting my position with an 11 pip loss. Good thing is original risk was 16 pips, but based on the current close, it's looking very dangerous to hold that position if we close back in the 30 minute range. If we stay above the 30 minute range, then my buys are still valid at that stage. But you can see the 5 minute and the 15 minute are not giving us any opportunity to see this trade working out. Yeah, I closed my buy position here. I exited the position. So I would be looking for now further confirms above 157.240 for price to continue up. If we don't get that, then that is my trade done for today. Starting the week off with a loss.
It's alright though, you manage risk.
Obviously the 1 hour candle is still open, but you know the 30 minutes closing back in the range, so there's no, in my opinion, option at the minute to hold buys.
That'd be stupid really. That 15 minute just for retest to come down.
And if I would have been holding, we'd be literally about to tap my stops. So at least I managed to get out with a much lower risk than I wanted. Well, sort of. not as low as I really wanted, but
Every pip counts.
yeah, every pip does count. That is very true. Now the COVID scam is nearly over. Here comes a decade of private scams here. Yes. So guys, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Just a reminder. But yeah, looks like we are coming down heavy. But it was kind of to be expected a little bit. Because I knew, okay, we could still reject based off that. Even though the 4 hour gave us confirmation, it may have been a push up to just create a range. Oh yeah, my stops would have been hit. My stops would have been hit at this point. And now you can see the 1 hour candles are coming down very hard. So in theory, this is, yeah, I was even considering having stops below the range. So even taking a loss here is better than way down over here. And that is why I closed the trade based on the 30 minute closing back inside the range. So yeah, at least we got a less loss than we anticipated, and that's all that's important to me for the minute. And then we have 5 people drop off because I'm not in a trade. Those who don't want solid education. And we can see now gold is continuing moving bullish. It's pretty good. Like I said, if you wanted to give that 5 minute a shot, or sometimes people might like the idea of this impulsive buy above the wick right there, but very, very risky to take an entry based on that. I'd much rather take an entry based on the 5, and I would be like to be break even by that point. Yeah, I'm very glad I got out of that DJ trade when I did. But looking back, I was thinking potentially I should have closed it when we started to break down below 157, 180. But then again, we still could have drove up based on the 30-minute.
Yeah,
But we
got in the right place.
I mean, yeah, we can still pull back deep though. You know, we can still go bullish for the day, but we're just pulling back much deeper than we anticipated. Simple as, really. But the good thing is that you guys should have been paying attention to first was the failure to break new highs. That's the first thing you should have paid attention to when in the trade. When you see that confirmed with the closure back inside the range, it's very difficult at that point for price to continue. But in theory, we can still pull all the way down to around the 800 level and still drive up. Right, guys, I'm just gonna make a drink and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I'm back. Kelsey, you there?
Yeah, boy.
Alright, nice. So, the only other option that we have is if the 7:30 30-minute closes back above 150, then maybe this was the pullback rejection for us to basically drive up. and push back up.
I'm looking at that.
But I think I only ever had two options for a re-entry anyway. It would be a close back above here or a break above there. That's it. We break above there, then I know the 4 hour candle's flipped at that point. You have an opportunity then to like push up. Or if we get closures back above the range, then you know that we've pulled back to a potential area where, you know, we've generated more liquidity, closing back above the range. You have this as a target, let's say. You can look to push up to there, maybe secure, maybe see if we're gonna now then push up to there at that point. But it's very potential that it could do that, but we'll have to see. But I'd only take that if we actually closed up and above 150 and then expecting London Open to continue us driving up basically. So it looks like gold buys with the move here today though. Spoke about gold buys above 1776. So that is the move playing out at this very moment. We've got 5 minutes left for GJ. Looking at a buy when this 15-minute breaks previous high with London volume to push us up to that 157.250 area. Yeah, I think breaking of the high is gonna be dangerous. I think breaking of the high. I think you want to see a bullish 15-minute like this. But it's the last 5 minutes. I think you want to see a bullish 15-minute like this, and then that would be the 30-minute would look something like that, which would be a rejection. Oh, sorry, it wouldn't be like that, would it? Because it'd be like that. So it would be closing back above the range on the 30-minute, and then that would give you an option to say, okay, now we've closed back above the range, we should in theory push back up to 260, and then maybe we're going to hit 340. Because I always said from the beginning of the session we would do a heavy pullback in this range, and I've taken this sort of trade before in this kind of ranges before, where we had very deep pullback, but yet the 4 hour candle still somehow managed to finish off like that despite everything that was happening. But it looks like the 30 minutes not going to do what we just maybe anticipated. But it's a very tricky spot to be trading anyway.
I'm ranging now, aren't we, at the moment?
Yeah. Obviously, in theory, if we're closing below 157.060, then in theory we could continue down, but I'm not looking for sells. I'm not looking for sells until we're below probably 0.700, 0.850, that kind of area.
Say 850, give them a go, but
yeah, if you had resistance below 850 would be good, but yeah. I wouldn't be looking for sells until we're below that level. And then you could have, but the thing is, I wouldn't be looking for sells like, oh yeah, now GJ is gonna drop. It's more, you have an opportunity for sells below here, and then obviously you would then look to then push down where you'd look for buys above here, straight up. This is your area now. You'd look for buys. So you know from a from a selling point of view, your max target for sells would be like 156, 100, 156, 200. You wouldn't want to hold the trade longer than that. So yeah, it would only be sells below this support. You could not sell until we were below that area. But the 4 hours coming down very hard. I bet you open will either like drop or we'll have a candle that does this in open, and then what we'll do is we'll just range, we'll just consolidate, and we won't break above 250. But we're dropping here hard on GJ. So yeah, looks like there was no option for buys. But gold buys was the trade of the stream today. Yeah, GJ is dropping hard and fast. Sorry, the next 15-minute when London opens, depend how it closes. Okay. This is coming down hard, man. Look at the daily real quick. Yeah, we've seen this so many times, man. So here we go, London Open volume. This song is so like what's about to drop, so relevant to what's about to happen with Open. Is it going to drive up? Yeah, it's driving up.
Yeah, I just don't know.
But it may be creating a top wick. Let's check out gold. Open not really doing a lot for gold. 1 hour close bullish. 4 hours still bullish, but very, 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 very cautious of this area. Because in theory, this wick right here is going to be a danger. So I think that'll be your max target for the session. But even then, now we may pull back. You may pull back on gold to here, create more support, and then do that. But structure-wise, it does make sense to continue up. GJ is just not touchable in this range. I bet we're going to have a week of range. It's going to be one of those weeks.
Seen that before, and we
huge
move.
Nothing. Big move, and then we just consolidate. And then what will happen is there'll be another catalyst that will drive us out of the range. We didn't have any news or anything, did we? We may be even waiting for the CPI data tomorrow, inflation. Because if the inflation is more than 3.2, I don't know how the market would take that, because last time when we had 3.2 and obviously it was only forecasted 2.9, it was the pound just shot up. So I suppose it really depends on the CPI. I think maybe we're waiting for CPI. We also have PMI. We got and retail sales. Maybe retail sales as well. Sign of the health in the economy. So we'll see. I think maybe that's the reason why. But usually, we've got Bank of England Governor Bailey speaking as well at 1 o'clock. So potentially, that's what's going to be the catalyst for us to drive up. Maybe. If you think about it, maybe we're waiting for further interest rate hike talks for continuation upside. But look at this 4-hour candle, man.
Oh wow! Respecting the low. Oh wow! Look at that. What are we looking at?
London Open. I thought we'd get a candle like that for London Open.
Yeah, that's horrible though. When you get a candle like that, even if it goes by 150, it's just like, well, we could just, yeah, it's just not nice. Not fun.
Yeah, very tricky now. And your stops would be pretty big.
Huge. Yeah, too big for me.
But what I may do, I may look at it coming into pre-MY when we have the rate decisions. Not rate decisions, sorry. The Bank of Governor Bailey talking. I'm not convinced we're like just heading up. But gold looks good. Oh, gold's continued moving bullish over here with London Open volume. So it looks like the move here today was gold straight up. Big stops though. Yeah, so if you took the 5-minute option that we did discuss a little bit over here, you may have got obviously tapped to break even, but I mean still, you had an opportunity to get profit with that push up. But either way, even if you just took an entry based off the 5-minute, once you had the 30-minute confirmed, right? Once you had that 30-minute confirmed, then you had the opportunity to basically break up. So from there, if you'd held it, yeah, you'd be up pretty nice right now. You'd hit 30 pips at one point. That's pretty good. So it looks like gold was the only good move here today. Then we can continue up to 1781. GJ has just been shit this week. Oh, shouldn't really swear on the old live stream. Yeah, GJ has just been dog. I just think the best thing is looking at this whole range. It's just to stay away from this range until we're above there or below there. Really? With the rejection to the downside, I would have given the shout with the closure back above, because then I knew that wick would then represent the rejection that we need, lower time frame for the 4-hour continuation. But yeah, it just didn't do that.
And without that, you just don't know what we're going to do. I look at this 30-minute now.
That's what I'm saying.
Might even come down.
Yeah, it might even just be a rejection to head down. Right. Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here for today. Okay, so a couple of things from me. Obviously, those who had GJ buys this morning, obviously it is what it is. Unlucky, you know, it was worth the shot. If you look at the 4-hour candle, we broke above the resistance. You should automatically only be looking for buys at that point. buys are very still much valid. You still have nearly 2 hours for this 4-hour candle. If you actually measure this 4-hour candle, it's moved, yeah, okay, 30 pip retracement, but really that's nothing in comparison to what it could move to the next area. If you look at the daily as well, obviously previous daily candle didn't do much. So even if we consolidate, as long as the current daily kind of closes bullish, it does make sense for the continuation. Weekly is currently looking like a doji, which obviously represents that we have not really had a lot of volume this week, which is obviously the case, as today you can see. But today was definitely worth a shot based off of the 4-hour confirmation. You should only be looking for buys, right? Off the 1 hour as well, structurally it made sense. And the thing is it made sense to at least get to here. And by here, I would have been break even. It's just the fact that we hardly had any profit. It just consolidated and then just dropped. So at least you had an opportunity then to know to get out. And it's very rare that I kind of have these situations. It's more a case of price goes into profit, goes to break even, hits my break even, and then loses. Or hits break even and then goes to profit. It's very actually rare that I have a situation where we just have a straight loss without getting an opportunity to go into break even. Because I knew that, you know, we would be break even by here. And from a 4-hour perspective, that wasn't hard for the 4-hour to at least flip and at least just get into this wick zone. And then we drop back down into the range. You know, we didn't even really break up at all. We just came straight back into the range based off of the 4-hour. But either way, we had the confirms. We had support created above our Asian range as well, which is something I look for on a very regular basis and works out a lot of times. The only thing you can do at that point is look for a potential area where it makes sense to exit. Now this candle here technically would have been my exit right there, technically from previous trades. However, after testing that out, I found that still we can still drive up and continue in our given direction. So I decided to hold that, even though that technically would have been my exit, and then I would look for a re-opportunity. But today I decided to hold it, and of course then it dropped down further into the range and I closed somewhere over here. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Point is, I got out with a smaller loss than I anticipated, and that's all that matters for me. And I took the trade that I always want to take. So again, that's all that matters to me. But still, last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is this. If you're looking for buys today, I think the only real option that you're going to get that's going to be the safest is above 250, because then at least you know at that point the 4-hour candle has flipped. You then have an opportunity to get to 350, and then I think it's going to have to be a break even from that point, because we can do that and then do that and come back in the range, and then you're like, oh, but it's done it again. Well, look, you know, we can break above here, get to there, but there's no guarantee we're going to come out of this whole zone, because remember what happened here, what happened here, and what this is on the 4-hour. It's a wick, it's a rejection. Okay, so all in all, apart from that, I wouldn't be looking for sales until we're below like 850, even probably 700. And apart from that, there's just really no opportunity within this area unless, like I say, we're above 250. Or if you want to be really safe, and I'd say probably clever, would be above 350, looking for a lower time frame entry, because sometimes you may just get a candle look like that and then you're like, I've missed it. Now you have to look for continuation. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to say for GJ for today, because it's just dog at the minute. And obviously gold buys, obviously we spoke about gold buys this morning, above 1776, and they are running very, very nicely. But just be careful on that 4-hour wick rejection at 1781, and then apart from that, I think you are good to go. And then pound yen, obviously we spoke about pound yen. Yeah, I don't even really like the idea of the, I mean, it could work, but I don't really like the idea even of the 30 closing like that, because I've seen it where we could basically just push up and then create a range between here and this new range, rather than if you actually get a break above here, you can look then at that point to continue, knowing the 4-hour is now flipping bullish. in its last part. So, but anyway, guys, we're gonna call it a day there. Make sure you drop a like on the stream. Obviously, we did have a losing trade today, but it's no problem. You know, you should be sticking to your own analysis and your own trading plan is the most important thing. Not obviously just copying and doing things how, you know, you're unsure of doing it. So obviously you want to stick to what your bias, your plan is. You know, this is a support for those who want extra help and guidance. But yeah, alright then guys, thanks very much for watching, really appreciate it. Make sure to trade safe the rest of the day, and we'll see you same time tomorrow, 6:30 GMT, for another London session live stream. So thanks very much everybody, take care, and we shall see you in the morning. Thanks guys, take care. Thanks everybody, see you tomorrow morning. Make sure you drop a like on the stream as well.